What's up, guys? The final score is back again. It's a Friday night edition of the final score. Won't get too many Friday nights. This football season is right around the corner. Matter of fact, the NFL started last night. The preseason started last night. The Hall of Fame game. We'll talk about that a little bit. We'll talk about some legal news in NFL. Excuse me while I get this microphone straight. Some legal news in the NFL, which seems to be a going trend every week. And then we have a legend that is not doing too good. Legend of the NFL not doing too good right now, and we'll talk about that a little bit. But tonight we continue our best of series as we have our top 10, and I'm putting air quotes up right now. Favorite NFL wide receivers. That doesn't mean we think they're the greatest. It's our favorite wide receivers. And with me tonight is Garth. No, I mean Matthew. I've been
What?
watching too many. I've been watching Wayne's World. With me as always, Garth. Party on Wayne. Party on Garth. Um, but yeah, Matthew, what's up, buddy?
What's going on, Stevie? How's it going, man?
It's going, bud. It's going. I had vacation last week, which was good. It went way too quick.
Oh, yeah, it
Uh,
always does.
but back in the swing of things. Football practice started. Guys know I'm a football coach at a Northeast Academy. Football practice started on Monday. Uh,
A
so
damn good football coach too.
I don't know about that, but
Nah, I know. I don't say nothing.
we'll,
I don't
we'll
mean that.
see. We'll see. Um, but I'm gonna tell you, for August, first week of August, those guys got lucky. The first half of practice Monday night was kind of warm, but then a cloud came over, and I'm gonna tell you, I was not joking when I said I'm about to get cold here. It was a good breeze, and the rest of the week has been great. They practiced early this morning, so we got them out like you do little soldiers. 6:30 in the morning, 6:30 practice this morning, so they could have off Friday night and do go out with their little girlfriends or whatever they're gonna do.
Yeah.
But we've got two more. Matter of fact, 2 weeks from tonight is our first game. So say a few prayers for me that we get through the season and these boys get through the season healthy, um, and have some success and have some fun. Uh, so first things first, let's talk a little. Last night was the Hall of Fame Bowl and the Cleveland Browns, New York Jets, and the typical. I think Cleveland had Joe Thomas was being inducted in the Hall of Fame. There, guy that was really loyal to Cleveland. He was there. He was there through the good times, which weren't so many of them for the Browns, and he was there for all the bad times, which was a lot. And then you had the Jets, and I'm trying to remember who was. I know Joe Klecko was one of the Jets that got inducted. Daryl Revis, Revis Island. He was a Jet. People remember him with the Patriots, where he won a Super Bowl with the Patriots, but he's more known as a Jet. He got to start with the Jets. And you know, you watch these preseason games, and it's like, does it really matter? But it's football. You haven't seen NFL football in a while, so you're excited about that. I watched most of the game. They had a power outage. I think it was in the third quarter, maybe late in the third or the fourth quarter. They had a uh, had a slight delay, and then uh, I mean it ends up being the Browns come back to win uh, 21-16. They were down 13 to nothing. When you had majority of the guys that are starters in, it was Jets. But then when in the later quarters, the Browns came back and got the win 21-16. You watch any of this last night?
A very little bit. I went to the Watermelon Festival last night with my little son, so um, kept up with it a little bit. Watched the first quarter probably when the Browns were behind, but other than that, no, I didn't keep up with it too much.
Yeah, I was watching on and off throughout the game, and I DVR'd it, watched the majority of it today. What I missed last night of it. You didn't see any Deshaun Watson. You didn't see Aaron Rodgers. They were on the sidelines, of course. Everybody at the talk of the whole telecast. I think they talked more about Aaron Rodgers than he did about the Hall of Fame inductees last night. I mean, they had some good ones up there. DeMarcus Ware from the Cowboys was one. Chuck Howley was another Cowboy from back in the day. Who else was out there? Don Coryell, who was a legendary coach with the Cardinals, coach more known for Air Coryell with the San Diego Chargers back in the late 70s, early 80s with Dan Fouts. And it sounds just like it is. It was an aired out offense. And, he really deserved to get in. I've been waiting for that for a while. Speaking of people that need to get in, that deserve to get in, talking a little bit earlier about a guy that is not doing so well right now and is on the verge of possibly getting inducted to the Hall of Fame. And I hope it's not too late. But Steve Mongo McMichael, former Chicago Bear, former WCW wrestler, member of the Four Horsemen, but he was a member of that 1985 15-1 Super Bowl champion Chicago Bear team, played defensive line, just a intimidating force. Was diagnosed with ALS a while back, and has ALS is not something there's no cure for. It just paralyzes you, and to see some of the pictures of Mongo, when you see these pictures of him when he was a defensive lineman with the Bears, and see him now, it's sad to see how this disease has just taken him down. And now word coming out that he has been admitted to the hospital. I actually think they say he's doing better. What I'm reading here, he was admitted to the hospital because of sepsis and pneumonia. He was unconscious when he was admitted to the hospital Thursday night to treat sepsis with IV antibiotics. Sepsis is the body's overwhelming and life-threatening response to an infection, which can lead to tissue damage, organ failure, and death. It can happen to anyone with any type of infection. But his spokesperson for McMichael said, like the tough warrior he is now awake. His vitals are better. His wife, Misty, is at his side and is asking his fans for their prayers. He was named a semifinalist for the Pro Football Hall of Fame last month. And we definitely send out our prayers for Mongo. Hopefully he'll get better. This is one thing I say, and I know you can't put just anybody in the Hall of Fame, but you need to get, don't wait around for some of these guys to get in the Hall of Fame that deserve it. I mean, we prance around it a lot, and then it's like when they're gone, we got to put them in the Hall of Fame now. Do it while they're here so they can enjoy it. Maybe this will give Mongo a little bit of happiness to see that he was honored to be in the Hall of Fame. I mean, sad situation, but Mongo was, like I said, in that 46 defense with Buddy Ryan and Mike Singletary, Dan Hampton, Wilbur Marshall, Otis Wilson, Dave Dorson, Gary Fensick. The list goes on. I think Ron Rivera was a member of that team. But yeah, they were a great defense. And Mongo fit in perfect with that defense with Buddy Ryan. But yeah, we definitely send our prayers out. On the other side, we were talking about a legal stuff. NFL announced Friday that it has suspended New Orleans Saints running back Alvin Kamara for 3 games for his role in a fight outside a Las Vegas nightclub in 2022. Now, I don't know if you remember this. He was actually arrested. The incident took place right before the Pro Bowl 2022, and he was arrested I think it was right after the Pro Bowl. They took him off. They didn't arrest him before they let him play the Pro Bowl. And I was like, okay, whatever.
Oh, wow.
Just let him play the Pro Bowl. Like, that's so important.
Then we'll put him in jail.
Yeah, then you can take him.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's out the first 3 games, which I thought I was hearing it could be 5, 6 games. So 3 is pretty lenient, I think, on him right now for this. But what do I know? What do I know? But that should be interesting. So football season here is here, guys. This I think last week was the last week we'll be without football, college or pro for a long time. So get ready for that. I know you're ready, right, Matthew?
I'm ready.
Giants in the Super Bowl, right?
I don't know about that now, but I hope so. That's what I'm rooting for.
You always hope, buddy. We can always hope. I'm hoping
right.
to see that. I'm not like some teams fans that every year they say Super Bowl this year, Super Bowl this year. We're gonna win it all this year. This is our year. They've been saying that for
25
years now, something like that. So last time some of them won was when it was It was on VHS. So,
well,
Steve Hill is in the house. So, Steve, I'm going to put your comments up. We're talking about Don Coryell, Joe Gibbs. Yeah, Joe Gibbs was an longtime assistant under Don Coryell, and you saw how Joe Gibbs' career ended up pretty good, I think. And then I wonder who he's talking about here when we said fans of certain teams were saying this is our year, and he said we them boys, LOL. So who is he talking about there? I wonder.
I don't know. I don't know who them boys are, but
yeah,
I don't know who them boys are.
Jeez, he read my mind. I wasn't. He read my mind.
They're the boys every year, I think.
Yeah, they're the boys.
I can't remember.
They're the boys. So tonight, guys, before we get started, please, I'm gonna plug it a little bit. Please be sure to follow the podcast. Follow us on YouTube, our YouTube channel. If you like what you see, if you're watching on YouTube, ring the bell so you get notified every time we go live, or every time there's another episode put up. Follow us on, give us a 5-star review on Apple, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast at. It helps us a lot. Guys, be sure to tune in and give us your comments. Tonight, like I said, top 10 favorite wide receivers. Give us who your favorite wide receivers of all time are. It doesn't necessarily have to be the greatest. We pretty much know who's at the top of the list or the greatest. That's a good question. Who is this? Is this Buddy Brown up here?
I hope so.
It's got to be. Daniel Jones interceptions in 2022 season 5. Dak Prescott interceptions in camp 7. So Dak's maybe he's just trying to get him out already. He said he wasn't going to throw 15 interceptions this year. I said, yeah, he'll probably throw like 20, 25.
Yeah, a little more.
Joe Gibbs created the H-back position for what reason? That's a good question, Steve. That I don't have an answer to, but it obviously worked for him. Whatever Joe Gibbs did, it worked for him because he didn't have too many years in Washington that wasn't successful. And, he's Buddy's here. So yes,
awesome.
To defend LT. That's probably right because they did a little bit of everything to try to keep Lawrence Taylor out of off the quarterback. They were, you had Joe Jacoby, who should be in the Hall of Fame. It's a travesty that Joe Jacoby is not in the Hall of Fame, and he had his hands full with him. And they would use a tight end like Clint Diddy or Don Warren to kind of chip or even double team LT. They didn't worry about these. It was pretty much an extra offensive lineman there instead of a tight end. So, hey, Matthew, are you nervous about Buddy being in here tonight? Do you think he's going to chastise you like he did on your running back list?
Probably, but I'm not nervous at all, man.
I can tell you this.
I'm excited.
My list has got a lot of different guys up here, and it's probably a little biased towards the end. That's okay. It's probably some that you've never heard of, Matthew.
Probably.
It's but there's a couple in here that are. There's one in here that is. I want him in the Hall of Fame. There's no reason he shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. But we'll talk about that in just a minute.
You talking about Dez Bryant?
That's a funny one. Here we go again. He's already started, buddy.
I know.
He's already
Yeah, I'm
started.
sorry.
He's probably got. If you got Dez on your list, I'm ending
No,
the
I
podcast. As soon as you say it, I'm clicking
I'm done.
end podcast.
I don't.
Okay.
Definitely not. Mm-mm.
All right.
What do you say? What do you say?
He hasn't said anything.
Oh.
Oh, here, Daniel Bennett. Okay. Derek Mason or Carl Pickens are the GOAT of wide receivers because they crushed the Steelers. Carl Pickens, really? I mean, Mason was okay. Pickens had his moments, but hey, how many rings did Derek Mason get? One, maybe one with the Ravens. Maybe one. Carl Pickens, I know, didn't get any. So, enough said. Enough said. In the end, you know, when you were playing for the Bengals back then, you know, you had Jeff Blake throwing the Pickens in, but still, the Bengals never made the playoffs with that group. So, all right, Matthew.
Yes, sir.
I'm thinking of a number between 1 and 10. If you get it close to it, you get to go first. So, go ahead. Yes.
4.
Okay, I'm gone. I got it.
All right.
Mine is okay. Shane Britton. Mine is going to be biased to Stevie. Got to go with Art Monk. There's too much sticky glue being used at that college. Anyone sticky glue? Hey, you needed to watch it back in the 80s. Shane. You should be familiar with the 80s. You ever see Lester Hayes with all that stickum up there? Fred Blitnikoff, as great as he was a stickum man. So yeah, it was a lot of sticky stuff being used back then too. So I can't say anything there. So speaking of Fred Blitnikoff and Lester Hayes, the first guy I'm going to go with at number 10 is he was a member of the Raiders, passed away about 4 years ago. Is Cliff Branch, selected by the Raiders in the 4th round of the 1972 draft. This is another guy elected to the Hall of Fame right after he passed away, unfortunately. Like he was a 2022 Hall of Fame. This guy was not big at all. I mean, he was 5'11", 170 pounds. He wasn't, but he was fast and he could run routes. I mean, this guy had some of his awards. He's a 3-time Super Bowl champion, 3-time first team All-Pro from 74 to 76, 4-time Pro Bowler. He led the league in receiving yards in 74. 2 times he led the receiving touchdowns, 74, 76. And he's got the NFL record tied for the longest receiving touchdown at 99 yards. His career NFL stats, 501 receptions, 8,685 yards, and 67 touchdowns. This guy, I mean, like I said, was not big. He wore like that 1-bar helmet. I mean, it wasn't any fancy helmet. And it just looked like, when you look at him, you're like, oh, God, this guy isn't going to be that great at all. But, yeah, this guy was freaking awesome. I mean, I think the game he set the record was against the Redskins in 83 from Jim Plunkett. They lost that game 37-35 in the regular season. Then they came back to the Super Bowl and whipped the Redskins that year 38-9. But, yeah, this is a guy, he's so underrated, and I'm so glad that he got in the Hall of Fame. He just got in last year. But Cliff Branch is my number 10. You ever heard of him, Matthew?
I have, but not good things.
Not good things. Why?
Yeah, not good things. My daddy did not like him at all.
Oh, yeah, probably because of that Super Bowl.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. But Cliff Branch is, yeah, that's an underrated. Where did he go to college at? I think he was a small school, was it? Colorado. He was out of Colorado. Hold on, Matthew. Let me get my pen so I can write down your list, too.
What list?
Buddy, you still there? I can't believe he didn't chastise me for Cliff Branch.
No, it won't be you.
Oh, he'll get me. He'll get me.
He probably will, yeah.
I welcome it.
Me too.
All right. Number 10 for you, Matthew.
Number 10. You got your pen?
I got my pen.
All right. We'll start with some older guys, the guys I don't remember. I do remember. Don't even I say that. I meant I do remember.
You gonna say Otto Graham played wide receiver again? Crazy Legs Hirsch.
Yeah, man, autograph. But anyway, he won a Super Bowl in 99. 4-time Pro Bowler with the Rams. 2000 will be the first of 5,000-yard season. I'm talking about Isaac Bruce.
Isaac Bruce?
I mean, yeah, my bad. I swear my screen reader reads it, and I got it. Yeah, Isaac Bruce.
Isaac Bruce. Yeah, Isaac Bruce. He's another guy that struggled with a lot of bad years and Rams, but didn't never win anywhere else. Got that Super Bowl, and Kurt Warner comes along, and Isaac Bruce takes off. He was good before Kurt Warner got there, but the next level then, and Hall of Famer. I can see Isaac Bruce up here.
I just remember seeing videos of him running routes and stuff, and super quick, good on his feet.
And it didn't hurt when Torrey Holt came and helped him out a little bit.
Oh yeah, when Torrey Holt came and then Kurt Warner, man, it was the Rams that during that time were just so good.
Yeah. Shane Britton saying Steve Largent has to be on the list. Well, he don't have to be, but he might be, Shane. I'm not going to give it away yet. So, all right. This is favorite now. Remember, Shane, this doesn't mean that we think they're better than it. This is our favorite ones. We haven't done greatest wide receivers. Okay, Buddy's chiming in. Calvin Johnson, Anquan Bolden, Brandon Marshall, Steve Smith Sr., Randy Moss, Hakeem Nicks, Victor Cruz, Torrey Holt, Golden Tate, Plaxico Burress. No particular order. Only guys I grew up watching. Dealing with youngins while Aaron's at work. I'll chime in when I can to get on Matthew.
All right. Don't forget me, buddy.
I got you, buddy.
I will say, I don't know. You might not be able to say much. Shit. Because
that is definitely a Giants fan there. You can tell that. And,
definitely.
Burress, Cruz, Nicks. Who else was? Did Golden Tate that never played for? No, he didn't. I don't think he played for the Giants.
Yes, he did.
He did?
Yeah, right here recently.
A couple years. Okay.
Not for long, but
he didn't play for
maybe 2 or 3 years. But
nothing wrong. Hey, when we say favorites, it's going to be a little biased because it's going to be our team. It's a lot of my favorite team. But number 9 for me, we talked about Don Coryell earlier. And I like this guy from the start. And this is another guy he's an old school receiver. Wore number 18. He's a Hall of Famer. I think 1996 he got inducted in the Hall of Fame. He played college ball at Grambling. Charlie Joyner. This guy, I mean, he benefited a lot from that Don Coryell, Air Coryell offense. But, man, this guy could run routes. This guy found ways to get open. And when, you had guys that they plugged in beside him. Of course, Kellen Winslow was always there at the tight end. But he had guys. He had John Jefferson. He had Wes Chandler, among others that got plugged into that role beside him. But 750 career receptions, 12,146 yards, 65 touchdowns, 3-time Pro Bowler, first team All-Pro in 1980. He played for the Oilers, Bengals, but he was known. He's known as a Charger. But yeah, really, when you look at, and you're going to hear more about the Chargers from me in just a minute, but when Dan Fouts needed a key play, like a first down over the middle, Charlie Joyner was the one he looked at. And, he had that old school helmet too with the face mask, the double, maybe a double. I don't know if he had a single bar face. I think he had a double bar. But Charlie Joyner is my number 9. I'm going to old school right now. So most of everybody's going because that's my generation.
Yeah, everybody's gonna see our generation.
Yeah, it's like
differently.
the running back. It was the same way with the running back.
Yeah, it was.
All right, number 9 for you, bud. Get ready, buddy.
All right, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Oh, 4-time All Pro bowler. Um, 21st overall pick with the Vikings. He played with a little bit of everybody toward the end.
Oh, I know who this is.
But he's a legend in my book. Beast mode, Randy Moss.
Randy Moss.
Yeah.
Yeah, when he came in the league, you could tell. Got drafted a little bit later than he probably needed to be, just because of off the field problems, and he took that personal, especially against the Cowboys. I remember that his rookie year when they played the Cowboys, he really put it to them that game. I think they blew the Cowboys out, and that was he definitely marked that game on his list. Yeah, he played with a little bit of everybody.
Yeah.
Did he play with Green Bay one year?
I know he played for the Raiders, the
Played
Titans.
for the Raiders, the Titans, the Patriots.
I don't know about Green Bay.
Seemed like 1 year, maybe. It wasn't for long. I'm gonna look it up. But Matthew has said beast mode for 2 players, not named Marshawn Lynch. That's what Buddy said.
I said Marshawn Lynch, my running back. See, I'm smart.
Okay, it was not the Packers. He played for Vikings, Raiders, Patriots, and back with the Vikings, Titans, and then the Niners. So I know there was talk one time about possibly getting him into Green Bay. Can you imagine if he got in Green Bay with either Aaron Rodgers or Brett Favre? But yeah, Shane is chiming in. Santana Moss is on his list. You can tell he's a Washington fan, and that's fine. Got to put Santana Moss on my list, especially after making those 2 TD bombs for Brunell against the Cowboys with 3:52 left in the game 2005. Yeah, that was a good game. Santana Moss is definitely one of the of that generation Washington wide receivers that you would look at. And you'll hear some Washington ones in just a few minutes from me. So number 8 for me. All right, let's see. Let me get my stuff up here. And this is a guy that a lot of people don't know. I know you won't know him. Buddy may know him. But he was one of my favorites back in the day, and he's another guy that got his start with San Diego. He didn't play long enough because he was, I guess, when he got so good with the Chargers. This was one of the first ones I remember in the NFL back in the day that had a contract dispute. You know, I'm not saying nobody else did before then, but when I was a kid, it was the first time I remember hearing a contract dispute. And this guy's name is John Jefferson. He played for the Chargers. You know, that was great receiving core, probably the best receiving core the Chargers had when they had Winslow, Jefferson, and Joyner. Dan Fouts, you know, he had so many weapons back then, but he only played from 78 to 85. He had that contract dispute with the Chargers. He got traded to the Packers, played there with James Lofton on the other side for a few years. Only mediocre stat, but I'll tell you this. If he doesn't have that contract dispute, after that, his play kind of, you know, he had maybe a good year with the Packers, one good year, but he was never the same. If he just stayed with the Chargers, man, this guy would have put up some big numbers. Ended up retiring in 1985 with the Browns. Last year with the Browns. San Diego Chargers 50th anniversary team. He was 2-time NFL receiving touchdown leader in 1978, 1980. 4-time Pro Bowler. I mean, 4 out of 7 years he was Pro Bowler. 2-time first team All Pro, 79 and 80. But it's just a shame. He had the goggles. He wore goggles and stuff, which made it look that much cooler to me back. It wasn't like the big goggles. It was like, it's kind of like the swimming goggles, little square ones. But yeah, he was really great. I think he would have been a lot better if he'd have stayed with San Diego in that offense. Shane Britton said, yeah, Jefferson was one good receiver. I always remember seeing him on the highlight reels. But he's talking about, he loves the story Dan Fouts tells about the owner calling the sideline phone after winning the coin toss and telling the coach to start airing it out on their ass. Robbie Browning, do you think Drew Pearson from the Cowboys will be on the list? Don't know. I don't know what Matthew's got. But,
No.
yeah, the dog. It might be on that dog's list.
Yeah.
He said Drew Pearson. When I said Drew Pearson, he started barking. So maybe that's one of the dog's favorites.
Maybe.
So number 8 for you, Matthew.
Number 8 for me. Legend again in my book.
Beast mode.
Yep, beast mode. Number 3. Number 3. I. It was the second round, 34th overall pick. I don't remember the first beginning of his career, but I definitely remember him from like 2007, 2008 when he played in the playoffs and Super Bowl. Got 2 Super Bowls. I'm talking about Amani Toomer with the Giants.
Oh, buddy, you might agree with this one. Amani Toomer. Was he out of Michigan?
Yeah.
He went to college in Michigan, I think.
54 touchdowns. 5 straight 1,000 years.
Yeah, that's a good one. I mean, that's another
over 9,400 yards.
Yeah, that's a Giant. So that's your first Giant, which is good.
Yep.
And I haven't got to my Steelers yet, but it's coming. But yeah, I don't have a problem with Toomer. He started out kind of slow, but finished great with the Giants. He was a key receiver with the Giants those years he was there. But that's good, Matthew. I think you did good. I don't know what Buddy's going to have to say. Does Buddy give his thumbs up of approval to Matthew with Amani Toomer? Matthew did his homework this time, but Toomer wasn't on the 2011 Super Bowl team.
I didn't say 11.
What year did you say?
I said I remember when he was in the playoffs in 2008.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Definitely Eli's security blanket is what Buddy said. Yeah, I mean,
oh yeah, for sure.
Eli really counted on him a lot. So number 7, and this one, I mean, there's not too much more you can say about this guy. His actions spoke on the field. Probably, Buddy said you said 2-time Super Bowl champion. Don't backpedal, Matthew, is what he said.
No, he was a 2-time Super Bowl champion, but I said he was a 2-time Super Bowl champion. But I said he was. I remember him from the playoffs in 2008.
Yeah, Buddy is disputing you. Let's see.
I know he is.
He's only a 1-time Super Bowl champion.
Okay, well, 1 time.
Yeah, that's what it says on Wikipedia.
Okay, well, yeah, there you go.
Super Bowl champion in 2007. So he was not. He left the Giants after 2008 and played with the Chiefs 2009. He said, we unfortunately lost one, is what he said.
Yeah. Then he retired 2009 after the
Chiefs. He after the Chiefs, he did. Yeah. I don't even think he wasn't on the roster with the Chiefs. It was all season practice squad. So after that, he hung it up. He never really played with the Chiefs. So, but my number 7, he's probably what people call the greatest of all time, the GOAT. Definitely in my book, he is. I remember, I wasn't much of a 49ers fan, but This guy comes from a little college, Mississippi Valley State, gets picked 16th. And I just remember hearing, why are they taking this guy from a little college uh, in the first round? And I remember that year he took off. I mean, he was good from the start. Of course, I'm talking about Jerry Rice. I mean, what can you say about Jerry Rice? 3-time Super Bowl champion, Super Bowl MVP, 2 times in NFL Offensive Player of the Year, 10 times All Pro, 13 times Pro Bowl, 6 times he led the NFL receiving yards, 2 times reception leader, 6-time receiving touchdown leader, 1980s All Decade team, 1990 All Decade team, 75th anniversary all time team, 100th anniversary, and he'll probably be on the 125th anniversary too. Retired his number. I mean, he set so many records, most career receptions, most career receiving yards, most career receiving touchdowns, most career total touchdowns, most career all-purpose yards. And I mean, he was good. It was so weird. We talk about seeing a guy in a different jersey and look so weird, but he made it. He's one of the few that made it look where it didn't look weird after a while. When he left the 49ers after 15 years and went to the Raiders for 4 years, 16 years with the 49ers, excuse me. The Raiders jersey started to look like it fit him. But then, finished the career with the Seahawks and had a little stint with the Broncos. But man, what can you say? Jerry Rice made Joe Montana and Steve Young look. I'm not saying they're not good; they're great quarterbacks, but he made them look a lot better. I mean, you had Jerry Rice and John Taylor on the other side, and what was it? Oh, gosh, Brent. What was that tight end's name? Brent Jones at tight end, and then Roger Craig and Rathman coming out of the backfield. Yeah, that was a high-powered offense. I mean, you double team Rice, Taylor's going to burn you, and you saw that in the Super Bowl when they came back with that drive at the end to beat Cincinnati. John Taylor catches the game-winning touchdown, but Rice got Super Bowl MVP that with good reason. I mean, how many? Hold on a second. I want to see how many yards he had against the. He went off against the Bengals. Let's see. 11 receptions, 215 yards receiving, and a touchdown. Dwight Clark was a little bit before. I think he's not the one I'm thinking about because Dwight Clark had left. It was Brent Jones that was playing when they had the Super Bowl was against the who was it, the Chargers and the Broncos when they whipped up on them. Brent Jones was their tight end. Then Dwight Clark was, of course, Dwight Clark makes the famous catch in the NFC Championship game, I think in '81 against the Cowboys. It started the 49er dynasty. But yeah, Jerry Rice, number 7 for me. I know you know who Jerry Rice is, Matthew.
Oh, right? Yeah, definitely.
All right. Number 7 for you, Matthew.
All right. I don't know if you're going to like this one or not, Stevie. I really don't. I really don't know.
Oh, God. It's got to be a Raven.
But no. But this guy's best year came in 2006. He hauled in a career high of 92 passes for 1,295 yards. I really remember him the most from Super Bowl 45 against the Steelers. But whether if it was Brett Favre or Aaron Rodgers, Donald Driver was always a good target.
I don't have a problem with Donald Driver. Yeah, he
was over 10,000 yards.
Yeah. Why do you think I would hate Donald Driver? Just because they beat us in the Super Bowl?
Yep, that's why.
Well, don't that?
I thought that was a good intro, a good.
No, I wouldn't. I didn't have a problem with the Packers. I could deal with the Packers. they played a better game that night. We turned the ball over at the
So
end.
many times I remember.
Yeah, one
Toward the
was a
end,
pick
too.
six, and then uh, and then the fumble on a drive that we could have took the lead. That fumble when we were deep in Green Bay territory. Clay Matthews picks it up. So yeah, we could have. Mendenhall was the one that fumbled that. So I don't have a problem. I didn't have a problem. You know, I hated that we lost at Super Bowl, but did not have a problem with that Green Bay team winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So no problem with Donald Driver.
That was a heck of a – that whole Green Bay team that season was so good. But Donald Driver.
Matthew, you get a compliment from Buddy.
Woo!
Solid pick, Matthew. You're doing much better this time. He said you're doing much better this time. Good. And he also said he's kicking himself for not putting Larry Fitzgerald on my list earlier. Buddy, you must have thought when he said he was talking about Super Bowl against the Steelers, you must have thought Fitzgerald, because I did. First thing that popped in my mind when he said that.
Yeah, I knew you were going to think Larry Fitzgerald, but no, he was about to come on my list, but not this time. Donald Driver, man.
Okay. All right.
I got a bigger hat this time. I think that's what it's working. Was helping me out.
A bigger hat.
Remember last time I was pulling the names out of a hat?
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, I got me a little bigger hat this time.
I got you. All right, number 6. And this is the guy earlier I was talking about why he is not in the Hall of Fame. I don't know. He had injuries cut his career short, but he'd already put up, in my opinion, Hall of Fame numbers and a Hall of Fame career. Talking about Sterling Sharp, Green Bay Packers. 595 receptions, 8,134 yards, and 65 touchdowns in 7 years. Unfortunately, neck injuries ended his career. And you think about this, he was right on the outside of the Super Bowl years with the Packers. I mean, I think it was a couple years later that they won the Super Bowl, first Super Bowl, and then lost the Super Bowl to the Broncos. But you think about it, if Sterling Sharp's like that with Antonio Freeman and Robert Brooks, you've got some freaking weapons out there. But yeah, why he is not in the Hall of Fame, I don't know. He's one of only 7 players in NFL history to win the outright triple crown at the receiver position. Led the league in receiving yards, receiving touchdowns, and receptions. I mean, is it because his career was so short? But look at the numbers he put up in his career, in that short career. I mean, that's numbers that some people play 10 years and get. But and you think about what he was on track to put up big time numbers, and especially with Favre there, that I mean he would have been freaking awesome if he had stayed there, if he was able to finish, have a regular career instead of having it cut short. But number 6 for me is Sterling Sharp. Jim Law chiming in. Okay, Bengals fans, here we go. Go Bengals. Who day? What? You better get your quarterback straight. What's up with Burrow? That calf injury. Let's hope he can get better by the time my boys get up there to beat up on him some more at Pittsburgh.
Bengals fans were calling the Bengals office. I mean, Bengals haters were calling the Bengals office, offering them a calf muscle for Joe Burrow.
Oh Lord! You know what? I'll say this: as a Steelers fan, the rivalry with the Bengals that got kind of intense with the whole Pac-Man Jones, Vontaze Burfict, and all those years with them. I like Burrow. I like the way he plays. So I don't mind, do I want to beat him? Yeah, I want to beat the crap out of him. But I don't mind seeing the Bengals go far because I like Burrow. I mean,
yeah.
And I like some, there's going to be trash talking all the time, but they carry, the Pac-Man Jones, Vontez Burfict, they carried a little too far those years. And I know my boys they're not wearing any halos, but yeah, it is what it is. It's not as intense. That rivalry with the Bengals and Steelers is not as intense as the Ravens rivalry is, and it's kind of, of course we didn't have the good year or the years like we've been having, so that rivalry was kind of downplayed with us because the Bengals had such good years, but we got them that first game last year. So.
I like Joe Burrow too, and I'm on the odd list anyway, but especially with this opinion, I think Joe Burrow is better than Patrick Mahomes. I don't care how many Super Bowl rings Patrick Mahomes has. I think Joe Burrow is better.
Well, he's definitely won. He's got the upper hand on matchups with Mahomes. So
yeah.
Last year, and in my opinion, and I don't have a dog in the fight. In my opinion, last year in that AFC Championship game, the Bengals were done wrong. They were done dirty.
They were, yeah.
They were done dirty. I think the NFL, I don't want to say it's rigged or anything like that, but come on, man, 2 third down. You run a third down play and then get another third down play because of a penalty you commit. No, that's not right.
Yeah, I've never seen nothing like that before. I mean, I've seen some messed up play calls, but
there was a couple other things in that game that I did not like. And like I said, I'm not a Bengals fan, but I'm not a Chiefs fan either. And being a Steelers fan, who you think I would side with anyway? I'd probably side with the Chiefs, but I did not. I was pulling for the Bengals that game, but unfortunately, it didn't work out. Sorry, Jim. All right. Matthew, you're number 6.
All right. Only thing I got against this guy is he played for the New York Jets at one point, but I liked him the most when he was on the Broncos. First round, 22nd overall pick.
Trying to figure out who
he got over 9,000 yards, 63 touchdowns, and I'm talking about Demaryius Thomas.
Demaryius Thomas?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Buddy is
he's coming, I think.
Buddy said, there's Matthew's dumb comment. Look at Burrow's playoff stats. So he's telling you he thinks Mahomes is better.
No, he's not better. Sorry, buddy, but he's not better.
I don't like Mahomes, but I think he's. I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to look at his playoff stats.
Patrick Mahomes is not better than Joe Burrow.
Demaryius Thomas, is he? He was with the Broncos, right?
Yeah, Jets. Unfortunately.
What's the hatred for the Jets?
It's New York, man. They share a stadium with us. They just need to get their own stadium. They need their own stadium. That's the hate right there.
Yeah, unfortunately he passed away in 2021 at the age of 33.
Yeah. Retired in 2020.
Yeah.
Well, not retired, but
played for the Broncos most of his career. The Texans, of course, he was the one. He went to Georgia Tech. Of course, he was the one that I think he was the one that caught the pass in overtime that in the playoffs. 80-yard touchdown pass from Tim Tebow in open play overtime to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. So, but it is what it is. Buddy said, Matthew, you're wrong. I like Burrow, but you're wrong.
All right. That's cool. That's cool. That's cool.
Right.
I mean,
all right.
I don't know what else to say. I've been wrong on a lot of other things and still think I'm right.
All right. It wouldn't be right without Buddy in here. Buddy, anytime we go live, Buddy, you've got to be in here. I don't care. You got to take off work or whatever. You got to do it while you're at work.
We'll pay you your hours. We'll pay you your hours.
You will. Yeah, I know. You know what he makes an hour?
Do what?
You know what he makes an hour?
No, I'm just saying whatever he makes an hour, we'll pay him. Yeah, we will. We will.
All right. Number 5 for me, and this is where the Steeler bias is going to start coming in. And this is a guy from the Steel Curtain days, from the Pittsburgh dynasty back in the 70s. His career was kind of cut short. Yeah, I can't talk right tonight. Cut short by injuries. He had to retire a little bit early, but man, did he make an impact. Went to college at USC, played with the Steelers from 74 to 82. I'm talking about Lynn Swann. And probably made one of the greatest catches in Super Bowl history against the Cowboys. I think that was Super Bowl 10? Yeah, Super Bowl 10, where he goes in the middle of the field, going down, tips the ball up in there, and then catches it. And then the one on the sideline where he looks like he's jumping out of bounds and sometimes brings himself back in bounds and catches it. Really athletic guy and was perfect, the terrible twosome, I guess you call it, of him and John Stallworth. That was one of the best, I don't care what you say, one of the best wide receiver tandems in the history of football, because Bradshaw will say it. He just threw it up in the air and let them go get it. And that probably was what kind of it helped end his career a little bit, because he was knocked out. Look, this guy, he was not a big dude, 5'11", 180 pounds, but he was knocked out of a lot of games. The Raiders hated him back in the day with Atkinson and Jack Tatum. They tried to put him out. I remember the last Super Bowl they won against the Rams, he got put out of that game. But, I'll tell you this, the AFC Championship game before Super Bowl 10, he got knocked out of the game, severe concussion that forced him. He spent 2 days in the hospital, but then came back to play in Super Bowl 10 against the Cowboys, and that was when he got MVP. So, Buddy's chiming in, can't watch NFL films without seeing 2 or 3 Lynn Swann highlights, and that's the truth. He had some great catches, some circus catches, but number 88, Lynn Swann, that's my first Steeler on here, number 5 for me. He did, Buddy, you're right. I think he did. He started the trend of receivers doing ballet. And a lot of people criticized him back then about him doing ballet. Oh, why are you doing ballet? That ain't manly. But you look at what it did. I mean, you look at what it did as far as his flexibility and the way he went after their passes. I mean, go back and watch Lynn Swann's greatest catches, and you'll see how ballet helped him there. You gonna do some ballet for us, Matthew?
No, not me. You got the wrong one.
Come on, dude.
My balance ain't too good.
All right, number 5 for you.
All right, I'm getting a little biased here too again. Steelers.
Okay. I hated to see him go because we were really developing as with him and Hines Ward and Randall Hill. They were developing into a good wide receiver core, but of course, left. Buddy is put up here. Burris ? I don't think he likes your this pick.
Oh, I don't think so either.
Just don't let him in a nightclub.
Yeah.
But yeah, Burris was you look at the body style he had. I remember when we drafted him out of Michigan State. He was the 8th pick in the draft, and he started that first year, and he had kind of a rough first year. I think there was one play he caught a pass, rolled across the middle. Oh, that was Robert Matthews. Excuse me. It said Burris. Okay, it's just saying Facebook user, so you guys need to identify yourself.
Burris. Burris. B-U-R-S-Z.
Burris. Burris.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got you, Bob. But yeah, he didn't get touched, so he was still alive, and he spiked the ball down and turned the ball over. Jacksonville picked it up. So he made a bonehead play, but he came into his own. He had some good years. I think the last year he was there with us before he left was we went to the AFC. It was Roethlisberger's rookie year, and then he left after that, which I was like, gosh, dude, you're getting a good quarterback. But it worked out for him. He gets the Super Bowl and he makes the game-winning touchdown for the Giants that year. But 8,499 yards receiving, 64 touchdowns. Okay, a little alert there. But yeah, I don't have a problem with. I don't have a problem. Favorite Plax moment outside of Super Bowl was the overtime touchdown against Philly. I'm assuming that's Buddy there. Yeah, it's got to be Plaxico Burress. Just remember, he started with us. We got him good, and then y'all took him. So
Yeah, but
all right,
he was a better Giant than he was a Steeler.
that's probably he was. That's no, but he shot himself when he was with the Giants. Shot himself in the leg when he was with the Giants. What are y'all doing to him, man?
I don't know. We got Super Bowl though. We got Super Bowl though. So.
Too many distractions in New York. That's what I
Maybe, but
too many distractions in New York. There weren't a lot of distractions. As many in Pittsburgh as it was in New York.
We got we needed out of them.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Ooh, excuse me. This is where we're going to start flip-flopping between two teams here. Number 4. You guys remember, I think they called them the Three Amigos. Back from the old Redskin teams in the 80s. He's a 2-time Super Bowl champion. First team All-Pro 1 time. 4-time Pro Bowler, one of the 80 greatest Redskins. He's in the Washington Commanders Ring of Fame. 699 receptions, 10,856 yards receiving, 65 touchdowns. A small school guy from James Madison. I'm talking about Gary Clark. The Three Amigos. No, that wasn't the Three Amigos. The Posse. Excuse me. The Posse. Three Amigos with Denver. Excuse me. The Posse. But they were like, between Art Monk, Ricky Sanders, and Gary Clark. I think it was one year they all had 1,000 yards receiving in 1 year. So he was a tough guy. I mean, I remember he came out of nowhere. I think he played a year. Was it a year in the USFL? 2 years in the USFL with the Jacksonville Bulls, and then came to the Redskins and had an 8-year career there. Finished up with the Dolphins, but that's another one that never look right. He had a couple years with the Cardinals. Never looked right in another uniform, but man, Gary Clark was a tough dude that would go across the middle. He could blaze down the field, and had Doug Williams, whether it was Doug Williams or Mark Rippon, this guy would get open, and this was one of the guys that they looked to for big plays. And 1989 was the year all three of them went over the 1,000 mark. Second time in NFL history that had happened. But yeah, Gary Clark out of James Madison is my number 4. You remember him, Matthew?
No, I don't.
You probably heard your daddy talk about him.
Probably, but I don't remember.
Okay. All right. Number 4 for you.
All right, number 4 for me. This guy also has played for a lot of teams. That's how good he was. Everybody wanted him.
Everybody wants him.
He even played with the Giants. He's a 6-time Pro Bowler, and I'm talking about Brandon Marshall.
You gonna call him the Beast too? I think he calls himself the Beast.
Not this time, Carter. He named 3 other guys Beast mode.
I do think on his podcast he says I may be wrong, on his podcast he calls himself the Beast or something like that.
The Beast. I already got 3 guys on the list that's considered Beast. So
Robert Matthews is saying that his all-time favorite receiver was Sterling Sharp. Sterling Sharp was on my list at number 6.
Your numbers, yeah.
Brandon Marshall, straight out of UCF, University of Central Florida. Played with the Broncos, the Dolphins, the Bears, the Jets, the Giants, the Seahawks, the Saints. Steelers. He had his last year with the Steelers where he just was a off-season or practice squad member. So, set an NFL record for receptions in a game with 21. Good Lord. Did they have any other receivers on the field? Who was he playing with? They had nobody else catching passes if he caught 21 passes. Wow. He's more known for his years with the Broncos. But yeah, Buddy's saying
heck of a player.
Buddy's saying he was one of his favorites. He hated it didn't work out with
me too. I hated he couldn't stay longer, but it is what it is, Not every team fits.
Had a 20 and a 21 catch game is what they're saying. How would he? I mean, do you have not either you don't have a secondary they're just not covering him, or there's nobody else on the field covering. I mean, that they were throwing passes to. 20 catches in a game and 21 in a game. That's crazy. Shows he can get open. Signed a 2-year, $12 million contract with the Giants. Said he put a timeline on his retirement, saying he retired once his contract with the Giants was over, which that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Carted off the field after hurt his ankle in a Week 5 loss to the Chargers. He underwent season-ending surgery that year, so released by the Giants after that. So, yeah. Didn't work out so well with the Giants when he went there. He had a lot of other teams that he tried out with, too.
He did.
Good Lord.
Like I said, though, he was good.
He was good. When he was on, he was on.
Yep.
All right. Number 3. Yeah, this is a bias, very biased, but I mean, I don't think anybody can deny that he's a great receiver, and in my opinion, should be considered for the Hall of Fame. I'm talking about Hines Ward. Finished, stayed with the Steelers, 1998, 2011. Came in as really a special teams guy. He was a 3rd-round pick. Came in with he was 4th receiver on the Steelers depth chart, and played his way up to where he was the receiver in Pittsburgh after a few years. Finished his career 1,000 catches, 12,083 yards, and 85 touchdowns. You tell me that's not Hall of Fame numbers there. But yeah. Yeah. I don't know if this is Robert or Buddy, but it said Hines Ward, also a great blocker, definitely deserves a gold jacket. Yeah, he didn't mind putting his body on the line to get a block downfield. Matter of fact, he had, I think, a rule with the NFL was devised because Hines Ward would do some cutback blocks, which, yeah, I mean, you're fair game on that field. What do they always tell you? Keep your head on a swivel, because if you don't, somebody's going to crush you. And Hines Ward, I think there was a linebacker for the Bengals that he crushed one time, broke the guy's jaw. But he had some intense battles with Ed Reed. I mean, he was – and look, no matter what, when he catches a pass, when he takes a big hit on the field, he always got up smiling. But he was a two-time winner of Super Bowl MVP, 4-time Pro Bowler. He's on the Steelers all-time team, of course. Played quarterback in college for Georgia. So,
oh wow,
yeah. So he asked Chad Clifton. Yeah, he can hit. Ravens Steelers matchups were fun to watch. That was one of with when you had Hines Ward, Ben, and then you had Ray Lewis, Terrell Suggs, Ed Reed on the other side. Those were some of the most intense battles that you'll ever see. And I'm not just saying it because it was Steelers. I'm a Steelers fan, but yourself when you saw them play, especially in the playoffs. There was a couple of years with playoff battles with them that were some intense games, and I can go back and watch those games start to finish over and over again. I mean, fortunately the Steelers won those two games, but yeah, just Hines Ward deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Hopefully, he will be there. I mean, 1,000 catches, man, 1,000 catches. So he's got to be considered for the Hall of Fame. Um, Look, he came out of college. He was discovered that he was missing an anterior cruciate ligament in his left knee, which he lost during a bicycle accident during childhood. Broke his kneecap in the fourth grade, and doctors never accounted for the ligament. So he's playing without an ACL, doing all that stuff. So,
Wow.
tough dude. All right, number 3 for you, Matthew.
This guy right here, I think deserves to be in the Hall of Fame too one day. He's not old enough because they wait to the last minute to to do it. But this guy had 81 touchdowns, over 14,731 yards, 5x Pro Bowl. Played for the Panthers. That's who I remember him mainly with. His best years in the Ravens. Steve Smith.
Steve Smith Sr.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, he came, out of the, I think he went to University of Utah. Came out as pretty much unknown and really, I mean, intense guy. I mean,
Yeah.
he would take on anybody. He had a chip on his shoulder, I think, because of some of his smaller stature out there. Another guy that worked himself up, and that those teams with Jake Delhomme, that Super Bowl run they had, where they unfortunately lost in the last minute to the Patriots. They were freaking awesome, and I hated to see him go to the Ravens.
Yeah.
But he played his butt off with the Ravens. He just a great receiver that worked his way up. Had a lot of injuries, but came back from those big injuries like that. And yeah, I can't argue with you with Steve Smith being on this list. But Buddy can. He said Matthew's just biting my list.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Robert's talking about Chad Clifton, excuse me. Warren Sapp broke. Yeah, I remember that. And after that game, whoever the coach was between, Holmgren and, what's his name? He was a coach after Holmgren. I can't remember his name. He got into it with Sapp on the field after the game. They had an altercation. That it wasn't physical, but it was. And Warren Sapp was just like doing this number with his face. He always had to do that. He always had to shake his head when he talked. He can't talk. Warren Sapp cannot talk without shaking his head, yes or no. First play in the NFL for Steve Smith was a punt return touchdown, is what Buddy's saying he believes. Probably well. I think you're right, Buddy. I remember something like that.
Yeah, a lot of returns in his career.
Yeah, he did. That's how he got his start,
Yeah.
really, was punt returner. People started noticing. And he turned it in just like Hines Ward on special teams. Steve Smith, same way, special teams, and it turned into a big career for him. All right, get down to the nitty gritty now. Number 2 for me, and this is like the quiet assassin. I'll put it to you this way: this guy never said much, let his actions on the field do his talking for him. Went to college at Syracuse, 14-year career with the Redskins, set records, I think reception records with the Redskins. And I'm talking about Art Monk, 3-time Super Bowl champion. I mean, this guy, like I said, you never really saw him. He's like the Barry Sanders of wide receivers. When Art Monk would score, he gave the ball, no big reception, except for the fun bunch, of course. He was one of the fun bunch that would do the high five in the end zone. But after that with the posse, he pretty much just gave the ball to the referee, and that was it. 940 receptions, 12,721 yards, 68 touchdowns, but could get open. I mean, he was tall, and he was kind of big, 210 pounds, 6'3", 210 pounds. He was the elder statesman of the posse with Ricky Sanders and Gary Clark, and he was the one they looked to. I remember the first year with the Super Bowl against the Dolphins. With the Super Bowl with the Dolphins, he was out with the injury. He went out about halfway through the year with the injury. But yeah, what can you say about Art Monk? I mean, he's one of the greatest to me. He's one of the greatest, and definitely a Hall of Famer. He's in the Hall of Fame, but and that's another one. He finished his career with the Jets and the Eagles. Does not look right in the Eagles or a Jets uniform. I always say that. He's one of them I always bring up. Robbie Bryant. What are you talking about? Rod Carew. He's a baseball player. Who are you talking about? You mean somebody else? We gotta figure out who you're talking about. Rod Carew. That's the guy on the Adam Sandler song. Hall of Famer Rod Carew. He converted. Robert Matthews saying that's what I liked about Marvin Harrison. No showboating. Marvin Harrison was definitely a great receiver. You're right. He didn't do a lot of showboating either. But yeah. Art Monk is my number 2. Matthew.
Yes, sir.
Number 2. Not going to the bathroom either.
No, number 1. That's number 1.
Well, you can do a number 2.
No, I'm good. I did that before. This guy was actually undrafted. He was picked up by the Giants as a free agent. Got a Super Bowl with us. Playoff appearance 2011, 2016. He also played with the Colts, but I'm glad he came back. And that's Victor Cruz. I wish I had some salsa music so I could play along with my
salsa. Buddy was
dun, 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 dun.
Buddy is saying his comment on that was, "What a homer!"
Oh yeah,
Victor Cruz. Yeah, like I said, I think he made a splash in preseason that year. I remember he caught a long touchdown in preseason. Oh, you talking? Okay, Robbie Bryant. I know you're talking about. Ray Caruth was the guy you're talking. Not Rod Carew. Ray Caruth. Yeah, Ray Caruth. Don't even get me started on that guy. But yeah, Victor Cruz did he started the salsa dance. What ended it? Did he get hurt? That it kind of ended his career a little early. Wasn't it something there?
Ankle injury.
Tell me, buddy.
Yeah.
Am I right, buddy, with that? Because I think Buddy will know.
I think it was an ankle injury.
Yeah, ankle injury. Okay. From UMass. Signed the day after the draft by the Giants. And his caught 6 passes for 145 yards and 3 touchdowns in the preseason game against the Jets in 2010. Yeah. Cruz was, let's see, signed a one-day contract. He wanted to sign a one-day contract with the New York Giants, officially retire with the team. However, that never happened.
Yeah.
Torn patella tendon prematurely ended his 2014 season. So, yeah, and he rehabbed that for, was it 2 years? He aggravated again in training camp, and that kept him out for another year. He played in the opener against the Cowboys, scored a game-winning touchdown, celebrated with a salsa dance. Yeah, he finished with Chicago. He didn't stay long. They released him on September 2nd, 2007. They signed him on May 25th and released him on September 2nd. So, yeah, I can see Victor Cruz being on your list, Matthew. But yeah, he had some good years.
Definitely one of Eli Manning's go-tos.
Yeah. Buddy's saying he rehabbed long enough to come back and get injured again. So, all right. Number 1. And somebody in the chat room mentioned him earlier. I don't know who it was. Robert Matthews, you mentioned him earlier. Uh, my number one, of course, he's a Pittsburgh Steeler. In my opinion, probably one of the top 5 players for the Steelers of all time. Um, this guy, he came out of a small school, came out of Alabama A&M, drafted in the 4th round, the 82nd pick. And there's a story behind this guy. When they were scouting him, they got the film of it, and the scout for Pittsburgh gets the film, and then he withheld it from the other teams because they were one of the scouts. I think they drafted Swan the same year as Stallworth, and one of the scouts wanted Chuck Noll to draft Stallworth in the 1st round instead of Swan, but he said no. Fortunately enough, they kept the highlight reel from Stallworth from the other teams. He gets drafted, and the rest is history. 4-time Super Bowl champion, NFL Comeback Player of the Year, 84. First team All-Pro is 79. 3-time Pro Bowler. 537 catches, 8,723 yards, 63 touchdowns. And, man, the Super Bowl against the Rams, he saved Pittsburgh with two big catches. The first was a touchdown pass, and that if you see that it's on the iconic Sports Illustrated cover of him catching it and taking it in the end zone against Rod Perry from the Rams that put them ahead. And then he caught another long pass on the same kind of play that pretty much sealed the deal. Probably should have been the MVP that year of the Super Bowl, in my opinion, but oh well. But yeah, John Stallworth he's definitely one of my favorite Steelers. I thought I had a Stallworth jersey. I was going to wear it tonight, but I figured out would give it away. Had a longer career than Swan. No fault to Swan, but he was able to keep himself healthier. But yeah, they were not as close as people thought they were at first. They were good teammates at the end, and they're good friends, but they were really competitive with each other. And yeah, but Stallworth from a small school like that, and the story about, like I said, the story about them withholding the highlight reel from him, because that scout knew if they didn't, that somebody was going to see that and take him before they could get to him. But the fact that he went to the 4th round, you think about some of these teams, and that's something I'm going to do later on, is go back at these drafts and look at, like from each year, we're going to do a draft review. John Stallworth was his name, Robbie Brown. You have to look him up. Lance Stallworth. That was Lance Allworth. They called him Bambi. He played for the Chargers. He was a little bit before Stallworth. John Stallworth wore number 82 for the Pittsburgh Steelers from 74 to 87. All right, so that's my number one. I'm wondering. I'm really wondering who your number one's going to be.
Give me a guess.
I really don't have a clue.
Oh wow! All right, he's a giant. I got a jersey that unfortunately way too small now.
Oh gosh, not who I think it is.
Giants 29th overall pick of the 1st round. He's got a Super Bowl and our 2011 Super Bowl win. Number 88, Hakeem Nicks.
Oh, okay. I was hoping you were going to say. I was hoping you weren't going to say Odell Beckham.
No.
Beckham would not be on that. I was like, Hakeem Nicks. So I think Buddy had him on his list earlier too. What? Robert Matthews calling you a homer. Yeah, you got to realize, dude, this is our favorites.
Yeah.
It's not who we think is the greatest, but it's our favorites. Straight out of University of North Carolina. 5 years with the Giants. and then went to the Colts, Titans, and back with the Giants for a short time. Super Bowl champion.
2015.
Yeah, 356 yards, 356 receptions, receiving yards 5,081, receiving touchdowns 31. So yeah, you like that Super Bowl team. You like the receivers from the Super Bowl teams for sure.
I'm a homer, Simpson.
So, but me too. I mean, look at me. I mean, Stallworth and Clark and Lynn Swan and Hines Ward. So I had three Steelers on the list. But buddy, do you give Matthew the thumbs up for his list this year? Okay, we're gonna go through this. Robert Matthews, did you have Steve Largent on your list? No, I did not. He was an honorable mention over here, and I'm gonna go over some of my honorable mentions that were on the outside looking in. Of course, Steve Largent is on the honorable mentions. Torrey Holt was an honorable mention. NC State, who went on to have a great career with the Rams. Calvin Johnson, Megatron. Here's a blast, and I had your boy Marvin Harrison was a honorable mention. Muhsin Muhammad from the Panthers, best known for the Panthers in my opinion, was on the list. And the last but not least, Robert would love this, Mark Duper. Mark Duper from the I loved Mark Duper. Mark Duper and Mark Clayton. Yeah, I knew you did. Look, and Robert's up here going, okay, I like Duriel Harris, Mark Clayton, Mark Duper. See, I had Mark Duper on my honorable mentions, so you can't argue with that. And I only had 3 Steelers. Matthew had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He only had 5 guys that had career that played sometime with the Giants. So Robert said Nat Moore, who played for the Dolphins too. Why don't you just bring Tony Nathan in on the list? He was a running back. All right, here we go with Buddy. Here's your approval rating here, Matthew.
All right.
Buddy said your list is far better this time than last. I don't want to hear his quarterback list though. Probably going to have Johnny Unitas and Johnny Manziel.
No.
Robbie Brown asked, what was the name of the Giants receiver that shot himself in the leg at a nightclub? He was pretty good too. We mentioned him earlier. Plaxico Burress. That was Matthew's number 5. He didn't shoot himself when he was in Pittsburgh though.
He shot himself in the Giants, but
yeah,
that was because he was shooting himself in the foot for playing with the Steelers at one point.
He went back to the Steelers after that though. You know that?
But that's why he knew he was going to end up going back there, so he shot himself in the foot. Like, damn it, too late now.
So that's our top, buddy. You have to go back. I'll have to. I'm actually in the process of uploading all of the back episodes that went live with me and Matthew on the podcast. So you'll get to hear Matthew's quarterback list. We've already done that, so you'll get to hear that and get to tell us what you think of Matthew's quarterback list. I think you would. I want to say he was in here that night.
I thought so too.
But maybe it was somebody else that was talking about your quarterback list. But that's our top 10 wide receivers. Let's recap. Let's go through over Matthew's list. Number 10, he had Isaac Bruce. Number 9, Randy Moss. Number 8, Amani Toomer. Number 7, Donald Driver. Number 6, Demaryius Thomas. Number 5, Plaxico Burress. Number 4, Brandon Marshall. Number 3, Steve Smith Sr. Number 2, Victor Cruz. And number 1, Hakeem Nicks. My list. Number 10, Robert, pay attention now. You'll see that I'm not a homer. Number 10, Cliff Branch. Number 9, Charlie Joyner. Number 8, John Jefferson. Number 7, Jerry Rice. Number 6, Sterling Sharp. Number 5, Lynn Swan. Number 4, Gary Clark. Number 3, Hines Ward. Number 2, Art Monk. And number 1 was John Stallworth. I think it was a pretty good list. I mean, I think we did good. So, what do we do next, Matthew? What's next? What do you think we should do next?
I don't know. I got to go back and look at the list I sent you.
we need to do some division previews too. We need to give our predictions for what we think is going to happen this year. We may start on that next. Matthew, Robert is asking, when is the LaGrange Lasker podcast going to start? Okay, let's go over this right quick. I'll go ahead and make this announcement now. I am going to be a part of another podcast that's going to start Wednesday night, August the 9th. It's called Just Another Sports Podcast. Myself and I can't think. Kyle from the Sports Objective. We're going to be starting our own podcast. We're going to talk about mostly college stuff, ECU, and local college stuff. Maybe not ACC, but we're going to talk like the Sun Belt Conference is really represented around here now, and we're going to talk about the AAC, and we'll have some guests on from time to time. I'm really excited about it, guys, because this gets me to another level, gets my name out there a little bit more, and we're going to have some guests. I'll be able to pull some more guests, and hopefully pull some more guests for this show, for the Final Score. I'm not going to stop doing the Final Score or On the Fly. I'm going to keep doing that as much as I've been doing it. And I've got some guests hopefully lined up. I'm talking to a couple of them now. I don't know. Robert's asked me what I think about the interim ECU play-by-play guy. I don't know much about that guy, Robert. I'm going to have to look into it more. Of course, everybody knows the voice of ECU that was announced, a couple weeks ago, Robert? The guy I can't remember his name now. Came from Duke. He was at ECU. I thought he was a graduate, but something on his resume wasn't right. So he had to pretty much resign from a job he had for like 2 weeks, and put you in a kind of a bind, with this close to the season where he's a Carolina Panthers guy. I've been doing it for 20 years. So he should be good. As far as football knowledge, he's good. What's his tie to ECU though? That's what I want to know. I mean, how is he going to be about getting into ECU football? Jeff Charles, of course, was the voice of the Pirates, the legendary Jeff Charles, who passed away this past year. You will never find somebody that will replace him. That is somebody that I grew up listening to, and of course, paint this one purple. Is a catchphrase that Jeff Charles did. Nobody needs to do that. Robert said there's no ties to ECU, and he don't like it. So, look, ECU people will notice that, and there's a reason they put interim in front of his job. This was I think they were kind of, their feet was being held to the fire a little bit. It's getting close to time, and they had to get somebody, and I think that was probably their best option right now. And it would give them another year. To look at somebody else, and hopefully find somebody. Who knows? This guy may be the best. He ain't gonna be as good as Jeff Charles, but he may be good. He may be really good, but we don't know. We'll see. If the emotion ain't there, to where of course, we'll never find one like Jeff Charles was emotionally with ECU. But if the emotion isn't there, if you can tell because when you're doing a hometown radio play-by-play, you got to favor that hometown team. You got to favor the team that you're doing it for, whether you got ties to them or not.
And you'll be able to tell,
yeah, you'll be able to tell.
Yeah.
But if you're doing something like Fox or something like that, you can't be biased towards one team like some people are on Monday Night Football. Not saying any names, Troy Aikman, but he always has been on Fox. But we'll see. I mean, like I said, you got how many weeks is it before the first game, and you're kind of getting close where you got to get something set up. And I guess this was their best choice for right now. I agree with you, Robert. I don't like the fact that he doesn't have an ECU tie right now, but we'll see. We'll see how it worked out. But yeah, so that's on the agenda, and that announcement was I don't know if we're going to make an official announcement or anything like on the Sports Objective podcast, but yeah, Kyle is somebody that's been on the fly before. Kyle is very knowledgeable, and Kyle Barber, he's very knowledgeable and very opinionated too. He does not sugarcoat anything. If he doesn't agree with it, he's gonna tell you, and that's what I like about Kyle.
Yeah, that's what makes it fun.
Yeah, we're gonna have a good time with him. Kyle's been on actually twice. We talked wrestling one time, and then Kyle has a big Atari. He's a big Atari collector. If you guys from the old school guys, he's got like Atari 2600s, Atari 5200s, all the games for the Ataris he's got. So very interesting guy. Just call him Cecil from LaGrange. Okay, Kyle just is a cancer survivor. He just was declared cancer free not too long ago. So Kyle's been in a battle for a year, so glad to see he's doing okay, and looking forward to it, guys. Hopefully you guys will be able to tune in. I know you've got a lot of you guys probably aren't ECU fans, but we'll talk like local guys. We may even do some high school stuff from time to time too. So keep your eyes and ears open. Something will be out in the next couple of days about that. We're actually in the plan stage, but on the fly, we just recorded another episode this past week. I've got a lot of stuff I've got to get out there. It's just time. I've got to get time to do it. I've got to make time to do it. I'll put it that way. But we got some great interviews on the fly and the final score that's coming your way. So keep your eyes and ears open on that too. And we'll also, we'll have Matthew up here giving his list with us and doing our previews and stuff. We'll have some fun stuff on the final score for you. Robbie, I don't have a link to it yet because we're still not doing it, but as soon as I get a link up there, I'll tag you in it. It'll be live somewhere. I'm sure we'll go live Wednesday night at 8:00 is the plan right now. But I will share the link on my Facebook page and I'll tag you in it so you can find it. But Matthew, any last words?
Everybody go give a 6-star review.
6-star review.
6-star review.
Yeah, guys. Please, if you can, if it's not too much trouble, if you enjoy all these guys that are coming tonight, Robert, I think Robert's already done it. Robbie's already done it, I think. Steve Hill, Buddy, Daniel, Shane, whoever came in here and talked. Obviously, you came in here for a reason. You enjoy hearing us talk about football. Give us a 5-star review. It takes like 2 minutes. That costs you a dime. Go subscribe to our YouTube channel and go to wherever you listen to this podcast at and give us a 5-star review. You can find the final score. You can find the logo up there. There is a couple of final scores that you'll run into, but you'll see this logo that's in the upper left corner, right over Matthew's box up here. So Buddy said, I came in here. Oh, Robert said, I came in here to hear about the Giants. Well, you did hear about the Giants tonight.
Yeah. You came in for the right reason. You came in here.
No other team fans are saying, this is our year. This is our year. We're going to win it all. We're going to win it all. This is the year. Yeah, we'll see. Who's them boys?
Yeah, who? Question mark.
Where them boys at? But I know Robert's a Dolphins fan. Robbie Brown, I don't know who you pull for. Buddy, of course, is a Giants fan. And I think Shane and Steve Hill are Redskins fans. Or Washington.
Who was it up here that was a Broncos fan that used to come up here a lot?
May have been Henry Ford.
Because they were John Elway fan.
Yeah, I think that was Henry.
Oh, okay.
I hadn't seen him in here a while. But yeah, so guys, like I said, if it's not too much trouble, please do that for us. And you, anytime you got an idea or something you want us to talk about up here, send us a message. You can send the final score. I think it's just the final score at gmail.com. Let me just make sure. Final score 7399.
Yeah.
The final score 7399 at gmail.com. Or you can find, if you find me on Facebook, just send me a direct message on Facebook. And if you got an idea for a show you want to come on and talk about, by all means do it. We're going to end up doing a top 10 Giants list. And hopefully we can work it out where Buddy can come in here and Buddy and Matthew can go head to head. And I'll just be the third wheel in here.
You'll be the audience, the lifer.
Yeah. I mean, I'll do my list, but Buddy can come in here and give his top. Buddy, if you're out there, I want to set it up where you can come in here and do your top 10 Giants with me and Matthew.
I tried to talk to him last week or the week before last, so I'm trying to keep doing it.
Yeah. Robbie Browning is a Panthers fan. Unfortunately, the Panthers, there's nothing unfortunate about it. Everybody has some down years. You guys have took a step in the right direction, trying to get an actual quarterback that isn't above the age of 30, and try to build a team again. So I think you're headed the right direction.
And when y'all were getting rid of like all those players last year with Christian McCaffrey, I thought it was the craziest thing. But the players y'all picked up,
yeah,
brand new quarterback straight out of college, and I think y'all is a good step forward.
You actually ended up pretty good.
Yeah,
better than I thought.
Me too. Because
losing everything you had, you actually ended up pretty good. So, and we'll see about this year. It depends on Bryce Young, how quick Bryce Young can come along, and if he can avoid injuries. So, yeah. All right, top 10 all time, top 10 favorite. Either way, Buddy will be down.
You said that?
Yeah, Buddy said he's down for it. So
sweet.
We'll set that up with him sometime when he's free. We'll go back. Let me know when you're free. And usually what me and Matthew try to do is like Thursday nights. You know, we couldn't do it last night because Matthew's gallivanting around. Like I always, can't keep him nowhere. But going out partying at the Watermelon Fest. And
can't keep me nowhere, and you can't take me nowhere.
Causing trouble. And you know how he is. Buddy knows. If anybody knows how he is,
but Buddy knows I'm an angel.
Robbie Brown said it was absolutely crazy to get rid of high caliber running back like Christian.
Yes.
Yeah, it was. But
when you rebuild a team like that, sometimes you just got to take those risks to build cap space.
And the mistake I think the Panthers made with McCaffrey. And I said this from the start, McCaffrey can't be an every down back.
Yeah.
The Panthers were trying after, who was it? It wasn't D'Angelo Williams, Jonathan Stewart. When him and Jonathan Stewart were there together and splitting, that would work. But after Stewart left, they never really found another guy that could step in there and take some of the pressure off McCaffrey. And McCaffrey was doing that every down back, and it was racking up on him.
But they were running him like 30, 40.
And injuries. You look at how many injuries he had after Stewart left. I mean, you can't turn him into an every down back. He needs to get a break here and there. Robert saying the Giants are looking at Leroy Jenkins. You know who Leroy Jenkins is?
Yes, but I don't think so. I don't think so.
Leroy Jenkins. At least I got chicken.
I don't think so.
All right, guys. Matthew, thank you, bud. Appreciate you being here. Appreciate you doing this with me. Guys out there, all the guys that were in here comment, Robert, Buddy, Robbie, Shane, Daniel, Steve, everybody else.
The
Appreciate
bots.
you guys being here. Who?
The bots.
The bots. Yeah.
Yeah.
All you guys, thank you. And guys, we will see you next time on the Final Score. Have a great week, guys.
Later.